Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle. We are here, we're home, we're in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the home state of Her's, the home state of Wawa, the home state of myself, and the 21st race of the Wawa Cup Series. Only 2 races left to go until the chase cutoff a week from tomorrow, next Friday night, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, once again qualifying here on a Thursday. So we got the IndyCar Series at Road America tomorrow. Don't want to compete with that, so qualifying a couple days early for these guys here in the Wawa Cup Series, and this, of course, uncharted qualifying. And we're going to have a lot of fun with this race, as we always do here in the Wawa Cup Series. And for the first time this season, we've got ourselves a co-commentator for qualifying. Well, outside of Daytona. But, hey, you know, we saw Ladovic win at Montreal last week, Matt, and this is a track that you guys at GRT are very strong at. What are you expecting on Saturday's race here in the Her's Forever Good 400?
Well, I mean, it should be an exciting race. I mean, last year, obviously, I had a great duel with Keys, and I will still die on the hill that if my Ladovic's car hadn't died last year, we had a very good shot of going 1-2 in that race. So it's going to be exciting. Obviously, I mean, you know, the GRT cars we expect to be good. The 23 of Duncan Ward's been really fast on these speedways, though, so you can never count them out. And then, you know, I mean, there's always, you never know what could happen. Pocono's Pocono, but I mean, listen, I think without question, at this point of the season, we all know who everybody's chasing. It's 51 and 54. They're in just a completely different atmosphere than everybody else right now.
And of course, Ladovic Shred has already clinched a spot into the Wawa Cup Series chase, so you know she's got nothing to worry about now. She's finally got that win. She's in the chase. She's probably going to win the regular season title. If she doesn't, it's probably going to end up being Paulus. And of course, you alluded to what happened here last year with Ladovic blowing an engine in this event and failing to finish. So if something like that does happen, looks like an issue on the 05. There's a tire going down on Dylan Matthews, which is a shame, because there's not enough time to get back out there and get another lap in if you don't get it done now. It's a very long racetrack here at Pocono, only a 5-minute session for these guys for these group sessions, so they only have a little bit of time to get around here, around this 2.5-mile racetrack. And that's actually a tough break for her. She's actually made the last 2 races, only 4 starts in the year, but 2 of them have come within the last week there at Gateway in Montreal when we had the 2 races last week. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case for her here today. Hot seat drivers. We got the number 14, that's Skep Silver in the 14 machine. Had a good run on Monday night in the West Series race at Elko, and will be returning to Parker Davis Enterprises in the Truck Series for you guys, so I know you're excited about that. Number 90, that's Trey Wright. Home race for Trey Wright right here in the number 90 machine for Appalachian Motorsports. We'll see what Trey Wright can do. We got, who else in the hot seat here? There's a 91 machine, that's Nathan Meyer. 91 had a good run last week in Montreal with Rashi Mahendra behind the wheel. And then the 42 machine is Anthony Hernandez driving there for Racing Motorsports. Zayden Davison's the fastest. I promise you it's not rigged. The Her's car was the fastest time in the Uncharted session, but I would be honest with you. I would hate to see the Her's car miss this race since it is the Her's race. And Zayden Davison actually missed last week in Montreal, trying to get back into the swing of things here in the Uncharted race there with Darian Arnsdorf. Arnsdorf, of course, holding the points lead in the Uncharted drivers now. And he actually has a pretty significant lead ahead of Zayden Davison at 29 points, to be exact. There's quite a bit there. Now, Arnsdorf just barely inside of it right now, and you can thank Trey Wright for being in the number 90 machine. These guys getting a pull off each other right now, so we'll see how well that affects their times here as they come across the line. Time is about to run out here in this Uncharted session. No change out of the top 6. They all remain in their respective positions right there, and the tire wear is also going to become a factor in this. So right now we have Zayden Davison, Carson Miller, Eric Monaco, Trey Wright, Jared Martin, and Darian Arnsdorf looking to race their way in to the Her's Forever Good 400 here from Pocono. No change right there. I know you like to see both of the one of the GRT cars, excuse me. The 14 isn't going to make it by the looks of it. But Arnsdorf, I know you like to see that. Had a great run. Runner-up in Montreal last week. And who knows, he may actually have an opportunity of running well this week at Pocono.
No, No, definitely. I mean, in a race where I think for the most part, these guys are kind of battling on slimmer margins than the other guys are, you know, because they're essentially, you're not really, if you think about it, you're Arnsdorf, you're Davidson, you're Miller, you're the three guys who are at the head of potentially getting a reserve for next season. Oh, that's not ideal. That is not ideal for Nathan Meyer.
That's 2 tires in one session.
That is so weird in a very short session. But yeah, I mean, these 3 guys have obviously, they've been elite. Their teams, obviously, they race for fantastic organizations. But these 3 guys have all had moments where you're like, oh yeah, I would sign him for next year. All 3 in their own respective rights. I think these guys are going to be very scary if all 3 of them can get onto the grid full time. So it's definitely, it's a tight race for them. Obviously, Arnsdorf after that gets a big jump in the points, but I mean, Davidson and Miller striking back here early, and Zayden Davidson looking very strong so far.
Yeah, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this race ends up playing out with these drivers in the field after what we saw Arnsdorf do last week, because that 11, that 00, they're just as good as what Ludovic Schredt and Duncan Ward are driving, and then we're getting to the point in the season where these guys have put in a lot of points into the ratings for them. They're still a little bit behind, but you know the margin is getting smaller. The percentage of that margin is getting smaller between the uncharted drivers and the full-time drivers, full-time charter drivers, so that's going to make things rather unique. Cale Anderson Jr., Skep Silver, J.R. Ribbleton, Aaron Lukes, Anthony Hernandez, Nathan Meyer, Johnson Jameson failed to qualify here from Pocono. Let's move on to Group A here at the Pocono Raceway. And our points leader, Ludovic Schredt, going to be in this group. We'll see what she does here in Group A from Pocono. And here we go for Group A from the Pocono Raceway. And now what will we see Ludovic do? I think it's almost a guarantee. I shouldn't guarantee it, but Ludovic has been second to none in qualifying this year. 4 poles, including last week in Montreal. Average starting position 7.6 in that 51 machine. And, you know, as I alluded to, this is a racetrack where GRT tends to run very well. Though, that being said, the 2 races that we have had here at Pocono have been won by Titan Fury Racing and Racing Motorsports.
What an interesting,
I mean,
what an
you know, no
pair.
offense to Igor or Aaron Abel with that. They have not had the best of seasons this year for their teams, and you know, we'll see what happens on Saturday. But I have a feeling we're going to probably get a different team. Hey, maybe it's this guy. Blaine won this race last year, and you had that battle with him last year, and you know, we were just talking in between there. You know how this team has kind of regressed. They have regressed from last year, and they have Blaine Keys on their team. This could be a turnover. We've seen flashes of brilliance from Blaine this season. Last week at Montreal was not that. He fell back outside. He is now 23 points behind the cutoff. A race victory would help that, though, in more ways than one, because that would put him in the wild card race. But, I know Blaine can definitely get it done at a track like this. He won last year with Racing Motorsports here at Pocono. Here comes Ludovic. Here comes a bunch of guys coming out on the racetrack. Not much time to get these times in here. But we'll see. We'll see who ends up making it on. Alexei Vitali ended up moving up a little bit there from Montreal. He's now 8 points ahead of the cutoff. And gotta say, you gotta be impressed with Sam Vitali's what he's been able to do. Ludovic was in this ride 2 years ago and did a very similar thing. And we're seeing Sam Vitali do the same thing this year in that 61 machine.
I mean, maybe we don't give John Andrews enough credit. I mean, that's 2 drivers now. Who, maybe you know, I guess maybe we look at Andrews Racing as like a complete bottom feeder team because he's never had 2 good drivers at the same time. But he does somehow find his way to get 1 good driver, and that 1 good driver, while I don't think they're in championship caliber equipment, there is some value. There's value to being a team that can show up and can just run nice, like be a chase contender. You know, that's not a bad place to be, but better place to be is driving that 51. Next best place to be is probably driving 54. And then there's a pair of Toyotas and a pair of Dodges. I gotta give a quick shout out here. Somebody's been, I don't think he's in this group, but Avery Alford has been unbelievable the past few weeks. I know he's not in this group, but he's been on an absolute heater.
He is.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Perfect timing. Yeah, he's now legitimately entering this race today, folks. This is a guy that last year, I mean, he had to take some flack. But he comes into this race, he's 7 points behind Logan Williams to make it into the chase, folks. Like, This is a real battle heating up.
And he's got to be careful, of course, not to risk anything, but he's coming off of 2 straight top 5s. He got 3rd at Gateway. Actually, I think he got 4th at Gateway, and I think he got 4th at Montreal as well. And that has put him in a great position. How about that?
Oh my goodness.
Monaco has just gone to the top of the board. I think he got a bit of a pull right there. That's one thing that you'll have here at tracks like Pocono. Laura Chung just went to the top of the board. And this is a home race for Rut Racing. And they got both of their guys in the Fast 6 right now. Brad Stover is 4th. He had a whole group of drivers who got in a line and are now much further up than we would expect. Not necessarily Laura Chung. She's been very good in qualifying, and so has Bernardo. But Eric Monaco in an Uncharted ride right there. Been doing a great job trying to get into as many races as he possibly can. Now you got Zane Davidson. You got 2 Uncharted guys in the Fast 6 right now. Zane Davidson just going to 3rd right there. Getting the pull off of Nathan Smith, who is 4th, and it's Bernardo. Then it's Brad Stover. And Ladovic's all the way back in 10th. Blaine Keys all the way back in 13th.
11. Oh my.
And
she's not going to advance.
And not at this rate. None of them got in line, and that's going to hold them up quite a bit. And this race just got interesting because you're going to have a lot of these guys who have not particularly had the best of speed start up front in this race, and all the fast cars starting in the back. This could get very, very interesting. Crampton is 7th. That's actually a good place for Crampton in comparison. Keys just moved up to 9th in the 32 machine, but it's Laura Chung, who's 5th in the points, by the way. That's no surprise. Eric Monaco and Zayden Davidson. And I don't think Davidson is as much of a surprise either. Monaco, a little bit of a surprise, though. We have seen him make a couple of Fast 6s. He just went to the top again.
Oh my
Look at that
goodness.
guy. He got a pull off of Drew Webb, and Crampton also pulled right up there.
Oh.
Crampton just moved himself into the top 6. Into the Fast 6, I should say. Troxel, who is... I don't think he's really going to have a shot at making the chase at this point, but he's going to try. He is there in 4th. Ladovic all the way back 13th, which means it'll be 25th starting position for Saturday's race. Sam Adio there in 14th overall. Sam Vitale is 17th on the list. Bart all the way back at the back of the field in 21st. That's going to be a 41st starting position. And it looks like it's going to be Monaco, Chung, and Travis Crampton who make their way into the Fast 6 here from the Pocono Raceway. Troxel there in 4th will start 7th. Zane Davidson will start 9th. LJ Semedo looks to start 11th. Bernardo de Oliveira will look to start 13th. Brad Stover looking to start in the 15th position. Then you get to Nathan Smith, Blaine Keys, Avery Alford, some Chase Hopefuls right there. 17th, 19th, and 21st respectively. Jared Martin will start in the 23rd position. Ladovic Shred starts 25th as the points here. And keep in mind, there's a regular season championship on the line. Daniel Paul Sr. is looking at that going like, hey, I got a shot at closing in quite a bit and having a chance at this regular season title. Nicholas Sambadia will start 27th. Rogaldorn will start 29th. Braden Perez will start 31st. Alex Sanvitali will start 33rd. Drew Webb will start 35th. Leonard Kochmer will start 37th. Christian Master will start 39th. Trey Barta will start 41st. Matt, what was that all about there? And I think I know what the answer is. And how do you think Group B is going to go down after what we just saw?
Well, we saw a lot of drafting, and the drafting plays a big impact in these group sessions. I think the Fast 6 will show us more of these top 6 who's going to have the fastest speed. But, Eric Monaco put down a heater, got a lot of tow. So did most of the top half of these. If you look at the delta between the top 4 and 5th place Zayden Davidson, there is a lot of drafting that went on. I know, 5106 59 won't be too happy, but, Stock Car World Cup was here a few months ago, and Logan Williams won this race from the 18th row. So it's not a death sentence here to be starting deep in the field at Pocono.
Well, speaking of Logan Williams, he's in Group B. Let's see what he does. 10th in the points. It's going to be a critical qualifying session for him, and we'll see what he does here. He's actually made a lot of Fast 6s as of late, so we'll see if he gets another one. Let's get the Group B here from the Pocono Raceway. And here we go for Group B from the Pocono Raceway. And we just saw how important the draft was here, of course, one of, if not the longest straightaway on the entire circuit here in the Wawa Cup Series. That front stretch there, it's a little under a mile in length. And we saw a very interesting group there get up front. Now, Travis Crampton and Laura Chung really shouldn't surprise you. They're 5th and 3rd in the points respectively, or 3rd and 5th in the points respectively. And then Eric Monaco, who won the Daytona 500, of course, earlier in the season, 39th in the championship standings. In the races that he has been in, he actually has done fairly well, an average finish of 21.6. That would actually put him 20th in the championship standings, technically, if we were going by the average finishing in between Thomas Troxel and Bruno Diacomo. So, good car, good driver right there. A lot of it has to do with just making it in to begin with. All right, Group B. This is where Paulus is, where Duncan Ward is, Logan Williams, and Andrew Miller. Jack Haas is in this one, as so is Kirsten Bell. So some of the bigger names right there trying to make the chase. Of course, Andrew Miller, I feel like he's going to be in this position all season long, where he's that last wild card, and then we're going to get a wild card winner in these last 2 races, like Blaine. I don't think Barcha's going to win here. Or Sam Idio, maybe even Tanner Parton. I don't know if Parton's going to have the speed here late in the going, but he's just been barely hanging on to that last wild card spot. He's actually not too far off from Jack Haas, only 5 points behind Jack, and he's actually had a good string of races as of late in that 86 machine. We'll see what he can do here. This is a home state race for quite a few drivers. Trey Bartow, of course, from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Same with Daniel Paulus Jr. in the 54. I know Paulus absolutely wants to win this one. And I know you guys feel pretty confident about him there in that 54 machine. Matt. You also got Andrew Miller, native of Pennsylvania as well. And, of course, Rut Racing. They're from the state of Pennsylvania as a team. Joe Rakowski there. So, so something about Pennsylvania and how many folks in the NR offline community there are in this great state. So, definitely great to see that representation. And they've actually been up front in a lot of these Fast Sixes so far this season as well. And here he is, Daniel Paulus Jr. with an opportunity of possibly winning the regular season title. I know you have some high hopes for him here going into the chase, but this race specifically, give him a good shot at winning, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a really fast car. I think this is actually going to be another tricky qualifying session for him because he doesn't have an ounce of... Oh, he's got a little. He might be able to catch something off of Gutierrez in the 36 here. But no, he's got a good car. I mean, even if we don't make the Fast Six, pretty confident the 54, 51, 06 in these guys and girls' ability to move their way through the field. Yeah, who do we think? I mean, who do we think could work their way in as an upset surprise here? I mean, I don't know if Monaco should truly be considered an upset, because if he had a better car, I have a feeling he would be in the running for best of the uncharted guys, but I feel like somebody's going to be able to pull something off here. It's just a matter of who.
Also forgot Nathan Smith, also from Pennsylvania as well.
Yep.
Gonna mention him. I think Fitzwater at one point in his life was from Pennsylvania, so definitely a lot of guys. A lot of guys have ties to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're excited for that. Bryce Egan, right now fastest, and Darian Arnsdorf and Daniel Paulus Jr. Paulus is getting a pull off of Gutierrez, I feel like. Currently right on the bubble there in that 3rd position. And I feel as if Paulus makes it into the Fast Six, he's going to win the pole for this race. And funny enough, he's yet to win a pole this season, though he has 4 race victories. And they have come every 2 weeks. And Andrew Miller, oh, I know he's going to be happy with that one. Andrew Miller and Tanner Parton helping each other out. There goes Isaac Nichols to 2nd. Nichols is kind of doing that almost purely off of pace. He does have a pull there from Logan Williams. Williams back in 11th. This is outside lane as well, so don't necessarily want to be in that position. So right now you got Andrew Miller, Tanner Parton, both of the NS cars currently in that Fast Six. Duncan Ward's got other ideas, though, and Duncan Ward, remember he won 3 poles in a row, I think? Was it 3 in a row, or was it 3 and 4 earlier this season?
He won a bunch in a short period of time. He's very good at this on the speedways, too. Yeah. I mean, he is exceptional at this on these speedway tracks.
And Paulus down the 7th. That's going to be a unique little thing right there. Parton actually moved back in to the Fast 6. Getting a pull there. Ahead from Carson Miller. And Andrew Miller right behind him. He's in a Miller sandwich right now.
That's crazy.
And Tanner Parton, you know, he's one of these drivers. If he gets the race victory, Andrew Miller does not want to see Tanner Parton win on Saturday. Because if that happens, you know, Miller's going to have to surpass Jack Haas to avoid getting there in that wild card, or being in the other end of that wild card, and on the other side looking out. Wild card race has really not been existent at all, because Miller and Haas have been in those two positions pretty much the entire time. And Troxel, you know, we kind of say that Troxel doesn't have a chance, but if no one else wins and all these other winners finish top 10, Jack Haas ends up moving into the top 10, which, with the run he's got right now, 15th in that 39, that's going to be a tall order in Saturday's race. That does it, by the way, for Group B. Troxel has a chance if those guys ahead of him have wins, end up getting better runs. It's Andrew Miller, Tanner Parton, and Isaac Nichols making it on to the Fast 6. Only one GRT car making it into the Fast 6, and that is Isaac Nichols in the 6 machine, so we'll see what he does. Duncan Ward will start in 8th, Bryce Egan will start 10th, Darian Arnsdorf will start 12th, Daniel Pauls Jr. will start 14th. Maybe not where you guys want to be. We'll see what that ends up shaking out for him. Justin Zaidel will start 16th, Bruno Diacomo will start 18th, Kirsten Bell will start 20th, Brian Webb will start 22nd, Logan Williams will start 24th, Carson Miller will start 26th, Philip Torres will start 28th, Jack Haas will start 30th, Angel Gutierrez will start 32nd, Roberto Crown Jr. will start 34th, Matthew Hubert will start 36th, Trey Wright will start 38th, Jesse Turner will start 40th, Zachary Fitzwater in the last position. You got a poll prediction. We got Andrew Miller, Tanner Parton, Isaac Nichols, Eric Monaco, Laura Chung, and Travis Crampton. Who's getting the pole here in the Fast 6?
I'm gonna, you know what? I think, I actually think Eric Monaco is.
Really?
I think I've seen enough where these cars that can do really good on the super speedways, there's something about this racetrack that they can also play too well. I think Monaco is going to give us something here.
We'll have to see how this ends up shaking out. Andrew Miller, Tanner Parton, and Isaac Nichols. Those are the three drivers there that have the Fast 6 here in Group B, and then in Group A, it is Eric Monaco, Laura Chung, and Travis Crampton. We'll have to see how it ends up shaking out. Let's go on to the Fast 6 to see who gets it done here from Pocono Raceway. And here we go to start the Fast 6 shootout here from Pocono. And I think this is definitely, you know, we talked a lot about, especially early in the season, how these cars, it's about the owner's ratings more so than the driver ratings in these qualifying sessions. So with that, you got to be feeling pretty good about the GRT cars here. But you know, I know you said you think Eric Monaco's going to have the best shot at this pole. We'll see if that ends up being the case. Here's Isaac Nichols, who did not have a good run last week at Montreal. Ended up getting taken out there. An accident with Travis Crampton. And he's got to be careful. But this is going to be a good qualifying effort regardless for him, so we'll see what he ends up doing there in that number 6 machine, the only GRT car to make it in to the Fast 6. I'm sure you're feeling pretty good about his chances in Saturday's race, though, considering he's going to be starting top 6.
I think the most interesting thing is Miller, Nichols, and Parton, all who are in kind of precarious, or less than ideal to precarious points positions, all stepping up to the plate here in a pretty big race. I mean, again, we've only got Atlanta to go after this, so it should be, this is a big moment here for Isaac. He's stepped up to the plate multiple times here. He doesn't need a win this weekend, but he cannot afford to have something not go his way like it has the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the last 2 races have been abysmal for Isaac Nichols, and that's why he's in the position he's in. He was actually 2nd in the points not too long ago, going in the Gateway, and now, you know, 8th in the points. A little close there, that line, a little closer than he would like. 52.3, that's his lap time. Let's see what that compares to the rest of the field here in the Fast 6 shootout. And here we go for Travis Crampton in the number 98 machine for NS Racing, 3rd in the championship standings, the highest of the championship contenders in this Fast 6 shootout. And You know, Matt, he's kind of fallen off just a little bit the past few weeks, and he had a really good start to the season, and, you know, unless something catastrophic happens in these next 2 weeks, he will make the chase, but, you know, what are your expectations for him going into the 10-race chase here in just a couple of weeks?
It's interesting, right? Because last year he was one of the top 5 highest point scorers in the chase, even though he missed it. This year he started very strong, was on an unbelievable tear. And there's a combination of things that have not gone his way, and a combination of some pace missing. But I also know he has the ability to turn it up in some of these races down the stretch here. So he is automatically in a better position than he was a year ago, because he's going to be in the chase, barring utter ridiculousness happening. So, is he a championship favorite? At this point, I don't know. Is he a guy, though, who could win the championship? Absolutely. Do not count out Travis Crampton.
No, he's a great driver. And, you know, one thing we were talking about before we started here with qualifying today was, you know, longevity and the consistency of some of these teams. Well, Travis has been with NS Racing all 3 seasons of the Wawa Cup Series. They have built up this to this point. This has been the best season that they have had, and we'll have to see what it translates to on Saturday. We'll have to see what it translates to here in qualifying. Across the line for Travis Crampton. He's going to go to the top of the board. 52.046 right there for Travis Crampton, and it's Crampton and Nichols right now 1-2 here in the Fast 6 for Pocono. And from one NS car to another, it's Tanner Parton here in the number 97, teammate there to Travis Crampton at NS Racing. 52.046, that was just set by Crampton. If Parton wins, which we'll see if that ends up happening, that's going to really mess with things, because that could very well, as long as he has a solid run next week at Atlanta, that could pretty much put him back into the chase. He actually was top 10 just for a split second after falling out a couple weeks ago, but then had another bad run. Of course, was sideways, and not the sideways you normally see at Montreal last week. And that definitely sent him back in the points again, but trying to get into this chase any way he can. He's been a part of this series as well since the beginning. Almost made the chase in 2023. Driving for the best team he has ever driven for here in NS Racing. It started off very good, but it has slipped up the past few weeks. We'll see what he can do here with his single car run at Pocono.
Yeah, this is a guy who I think is still in a car that can win. He's still in a car that can win this race, and even though his pace has kind of disappeared for the past few weeks, you want to talk about throwing a wrench into this wild card race. If he were to win this, I think, you know, the kind of general theme the past few weeks is, there hasn't been really much of a wild card race. Well, if one of these guys outside of Avery Alford, because a win would bump him in, if one of these guys outside the bubble wins and doesn't move their way into the top 10, oh my goodness, we are going to go to Atlanta next week with, we're going to have a cut line battle, a wild card battle. It is going to be so good if he can pull this off here.
It is going to be fascinating. We'll see how his time stands. He just went to the top of the board, 51.814 for Tanner Parton. So these guys getting faster. 3 drivers left to go. Laura Chung's next here at Pocono. And here comes Laura Chung in the number 20. One-time winner this season at Bristol. 5th in the championship standings, though. In racing, they've definitely picked their pace up with their drivers, and Laura Chung especially has had a great season. I wonder what happened on Monday night, Matt. The time of us recording this, we don't know. It's a shame that that had to be such an early round matchup, you know, because that should have been the championship. Hey, I'm pulling for Laura Chung. She drives the Herr's machine over in the D-Wall Cup Series, which is your series, and of course, Joe Rakowski hires her here in my series, in the Wawa Cup Series, and she has found success in both series. And looking to make the chase for the first time in her career. She's been a part of the series since the beginning as well, so we'll see what she can do right here in the number 20 machine. 51.814, the fastest time so far set by Tanner Parton in the number 97.
Listen, on a DCS side note, you all talk about, all you guys in the chat, I mean, GRT this, GRT that. What on earth do you do if you're a midfield team in DCS and you see Toussaint Racing, Otter Island Motorsports, and Vision take up, I believe, 9 of the top 10 starting spots? That is a different galaxy of domination that even we can't pull that off.
Yeah.
But Chung, this is again, same thing I just said as Travis Crampton. I don't know if she's outright right now the driver to beat, but when this point resets hits, I mean, do not count out this 20 as a car who could win the championship here.
And, you know, just a couple of bad races out of certain drivers can definitely shake things up in the chase, and then it's going to be top of the board once again. 4 in a row like this. 51-7-5-7, and Laura Chung goes to the top board. Keep in mind, whoever wins the pole gets a bonus point towards the championship. Laura Chung just took that away from Tanner Parton right there. Andrew Miller could use that point, though, and he's next up here in the Fast 6. Andrew Miller, next driver out here in the 86. These times will be getting faster and faster as we move through this Fast 6 session. Andrew Miller, I know, would love a pole position and a shot at a race victory for his second one of the season to really solidify his spot in the chase. Holding on to that second wild card still. A lot of speed out of this car, though. Andrew Miller's been doing an excellent job here for Durrani Racing. And if you're Ryan Durrani, you got to be proud of what your team has done. First time this team ever gone the victory lane in the Wawa Cup Series back in Rockingham. And this team is on the cusp of making the chase for the first time ever as well. We'll see what Andrew Miller can do here on his fast lap.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a big common theme here amongst a lot of these guys and girls here. Not Laura Chung. But common theme amongst a lot of drivers here in this Fast 6 is wild card and the wild card fight. And the interesting thing is going to be next guy up, Eric Monaco. If he has some legitimate pace. Imagine if Eric Monaco, in the midst of all of this wild card hunt, all of this like super close cut battle, if Eric Monaco is just like, I'll win my second race of the year.
Yeah,
Pocono.
how about that?
Wouldn't that be something funny?
That would be an upset, and not the upset in many ways, but you know, if you know the background of that, you know, 52-0-1-2, that's split in the middle, third quickest for Andrew Miller. So it's either going to be Laura Chung or Eric Monaco winning the pole here at Pocono Raceway. Let's go ahead and get to Eric Monaco's time here from Pocono. And here we go, Eric Monaco, the last driver here in the Fast 6 shootout from Pocono Raceway. Looking to shock the world, win a pole position as an unchartered driver. Hey, Darren Arnsdorf almost did that last week in Montreal, so maybe it wouldn't be too much of a surprise. As I said, the delta between the unchartered drivers and the chartered drivers is shrinking as we move on throughout the season, so not as much of a surprise to see these guys do well. But then again, Racing Motorsports as a whole has not had a good season at all. Only the two wins on the super speedways. They always win on the super speedways, but that's it. They've not had the speed that they had with Blaine Keys last year as Blaine left the team. And you know, funny enough, that didn't work out for either party in that situation because Racing Motorsports, they fell off quite a bit from last year, and then even Blaine Keys has not been near as good as he was a year ago, so very, very interesting how that ended up working out. We'll see what Monaco can do here on his fast lap. Needs to beat a 51-7-5-7 set by Laura Chung there in Rut Racing. A John Rakowski going to get a home pole, basically. I won't say hometown, but home track pole there for Rut Racing if this holds for the number 20.
Yeah, that was a very good run for Laura Chung in the 20. This is a strong run so far from Monaco. A little off there heading into the top of the racetrack, but funny how it has worked out for the two parties after that off-season split. But Monaco, give the man his credit. He has done some very good work in this car this year. Won the Daytona 500, got the car into the Fast 6 this late in the season. And if he comes off the corner, we're going to see how high up the grid he can go.
52-0-5-6. That's 5th overall. Man, I hate to tell you, everyone beat the GRT car here. Isaac Nichols will start 6th. Monaco will start 5th, but Laura Chung wins the pole for the Herr's Forever Good 400 here from the Pocono Raceway. And there you have it here from the Pocono Raceway. Laura Chung and Tanner Parton on the front row here at Pocono. And then you got Andrew Miller, Travis Crampton in row 2, Eric Monaco and Isaac Nichols in row number 3. Thomas Troxel and Duncan Ward in row 4. Zayden Davidson, Bryce Egan in row 5. LJ Semedo and Darian Arnsdorf in row 6. Bernardo de Oliveira and Daniel Paulus Jr. in row 7. Brad Stover and Justin Zidell in row 8. Nathan Smith, Bruno Diacomo in row 9. Blaine Keys, Kirsten Bell in row 10. Avery Alford, Brian Webb in row 11. Jared Martin and Logan Williams in row 12. Ladovic Charette, Carson Miller in row 13. Nicholas Samadeo, Philip Torres in row 14. Rogeldorn and Jack Haas in row 15. Braden Perez, Angel Gutierrez in row 16. Alex Samantali and Roberto Brown Jr. in row 17. Drew Webb, Matthew Hubert in row 18, Leonard Kashmer, Trey Wright in row 19, Christian Master, Jesse Turner in row 20, Trey Bartow, Zachary Fitzwater in the final row. Matt, you're going to be in the booth with me for the race, of course, on Saturday. But how do you think this race is going to play out, given who we've got up front and who we've got in the back of the field for this race on Saturday?
Well, it's definitely, without a doubt, it's going to make it a very exciting first opening stint. Laura Chung's got a car that I think, regardless of where some of the GRT cars started, Laura Chung's got a car that could win the race, without question. But we're going to get to see the GRT cars have to work their way through the field. Blaine Keys, Jack Haas, they were going to be on the back foot trying to catch up to Andrew Miller and Tanner Parton in that very hotly contested, what is going to start the race in a very different position than where Montreal finished. But it's not how you start the race, it is how you end the race. And at the end of 40 laps on Saturday, it should definitely be, I think we're going to get a lot of shake-up, but this is a fun track to drive. Lots of passing opportunities. You got to be smart with them, but you can definitely, if you're some of those fast cars deep in the field, this is not a racetrack where you are counted out. You can still work your way to the front.
We'll have to see how this race shakes up Saturday at noon Eastern time here from the Pocono Raceway. So we'll see how it ends up shaking out with only 2 races left to go in the regular season as well. And this championship battle is going to be massive. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing who makes it in. Thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to Laura Chung on her pole position here in the Herr's Forever Good 400. We'll see you guys on Saturday at noon Eastern for the 21st race of the season in the Wawa Cup Series. I will see you guys later.